All right, so I watched The Boys season 4, episodes 1 through 3. This is of course the season premiere, and um it's interesting so far. So, I here's the thing. The Boys, big like appeal, right? Is the fact that it is the edgy, rebellious superhero thing that it's not your grandpappy, it's not your grandpappy superhero thing, right? And that's always been what The Boys was, but it feels like this season they're not really it's not as try hard, it feels like, as other seasons. Like, don't get me wrong, there is a ton of violence, there is a ton of sexuality, there is, vulgarity, there's everything that The Boys has always been and more. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel as try hard this season. It doesn't feel like it's trying to like shock and aghast you, Like when A Train ran through Pee-wee's girlfriend, that was very much trying to like shock you, when the guy crawled in the penis and grew, and like that was very much trying to shock you. And it very well could just be that they just ran out of like more shocking things to think of. I That's totally possible, but more than not, it really does just feel like they're really just trying to go for a more somber tone this season. It it feels like every character is just kind of in their feelings, you know? Like it doesn't necessarily feel as wacky and zany as The Boys often does. And again, it definitely does at times, but it's like Huey's in his feelings, Starlight is in her feelings, Kimiko, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, obviously Butcher, you got Homelander, his kid, A Train. Like if it really does feel like every character is just like really, or like all of those characters are just really being deeply explored in a pretty interesting way. Um and that's not, and none of this is a complaint, by the way. I would say that this is a positive because it does feel like relatively fresh. It doesn't just feel like it's doing more of The Boys, at least to me. We also have some interesting new characters. You got Firecracker or whatever. She's basically like a she's like an Alex Jones type influencer character, but she is a soup and she does get recruited into the Seven. She's very interesting. Like when it comes to the whole The Boys and politics and all of that, a lot of the thing that I always hear people talking about The Boys and like Eric Kripke is that The Boys like hates conservatives. And I don't want to necessarily spoil anything, but I feel like there's like a moment with Firecracker where they're kind of like where they kind of explain to the audience that it's not so much that this show hates conservatives, it's that the show hates like the conservative establishment. Like the show is actually quite sympathetic to your actual everyday conservative that believes all of these conspiracy theories and whatnot. So I actually thought that was a very interesting, like, humanizing moment. And if you've seen it, I think you probably know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, hopefully I'm not spoiling anything necessarily. I thought it was very interesting what they touched on there, because for sure, for a lot of the show, it is like Trump is bad. The conservatives and versus the Democrats, and it's at war and blah 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 blah, and it's not subtle. They kind of do a January 6th situation. You even have like because you even have like there's a point where like Homelander is being like, stop, protesters, stop, you're all special, we're all special. Because I think Trump said something like that, right, where he like tweeted out like, everybody that's at the Capitol, you're all very special children, or something like that. And he was like, you're all special children and we all need to calm down or something. It's very funny the way they handled it here. Kind of interesting, at least in this instance, like Marvel kind of beat them to the punch, because X-Men 97 kind of did January 6th first. They managed to adapt it before The Boys. Um, and if I'm not going to lie, X-Men 97 kind of did a more interesting, better job of it. It didn't necessarily feel as ham-fisted when X-Men 97 did it. So I'm just going to point that out. Although, to be fair, literally everything in The Boys is ham-fisted. um, but yeah, Firecracker is an interesting character. I think she offers a unique perspective on like conservatism and how people get radicalized and all of that. And then you have this character called Savage Dawn, I think is her name. Hold up, I had her pulled up here. Hold on. Not editing this out. Isn't it? I thought it was Savage Dawn. Okay, hold on. I am gonna edit this out. Let me look this up. Sorry, my bad. It's Sister Sage. She's actually a really interesting character. Her power appears to be that she's just really smart. I don't think she has super strength or anything like that. I literally think that she is just very smart. And Homelander recruits her because he like wants somebody in the room that's like able to like tell him off and whatnot. Because like basically everybody else at the company, like the Deep and A-Train and the Ashley, like they're all just like yes men to Homelander. Honestly, again, very much like Trump. It feels like possibly. I don't know if they're kind of doing something there. And by the way, kind of similar to Trump in some ways. It's like he is kind of like alienating his like cabinet or whatever, kind of like how Trump did in real life. Not, again, don't want to get too deep into the politics of it all, but it is just kind of interesting that I think they're doing something there. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But yeah, basically he gets Sister Sage in there to be like the brains of the operation. And yeah, I think she's a really cool character. I like the way that she just like walks into a room and she reads people. And she kind of like is able to just immediately take control of every situation and get everybody to do what she says. Very cool character. So yeah, overall, I'm in. The Boys is back. When I was again, like every season, I just kind of come in and I'm like, okay, is this finally where The Boys is just like spinning its wheels and it's not doesn't really have anything else to say or do? Is it like every season, whether it be The Boys proper or even the spin-off shows like Diabolical or Gen V? But I don't know why I think that, because every time I watch a thing related to The Boys, I'm always like, oh no, wait, this is great. And yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, yeah, this is great. It's more, The Boys hasn't necessarily lost its step. In fact, I think it's gone in an interesting direction where it kind of feels a little more distinct from the first 3 seasons. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are if you've seen it. If you haven't, leave a comment anyway to boost the video in the algorithm. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.